G'day, I'm Justin Porter. Today's date's the 4th of the 4th, 2026. I love America, but you should have voted for Kamala Harris back in 2024 because look what Donald Trump has done. He's set the whole world towards a depression and possibly a World War III. Donald Trump didn't tell Australia, he didn't tell Japan, he didn't tell Europe, he didn't tell Canada. He was going to attack and bomb Iran's supreme Islamic leader, the Ayatollah Khamenei, and kill his wife. Ayatollah's elder son was killed, his daughter was killed, his brother-in-law was killed. That is an illegal act and a war crime, and Donald Trump is calling Australia and Europe cowards because we don't want to go to the Strait of Hormuz to free up the oil, as Donald Trump didn't tell us. And this war is not Donald Trump's war, it's Israel's war, it's Benjamin Netanyahu's war, he is a Zionist, and he believes that 3,500 years ago, God chose Abraham, your descendants will inherit this land, and you will rule, and you will be the number one, and everyone else will bow down before you. That's what the Old Testament says, and a fairy tale, not history, just ancient mythology, stolen by ancient Persia. Iran is Persia. Who has a 2,700-year history of Zoroastrianism. Now, this is Benjamin Netanyahu's war. It's Israel's war against Iran. It's none of America's business. Really is none of America's business. And America, I love America. They gave us Elvis Presley. He's one of my favourite singers, Elvis Presley. They gave us rock and roll. I love American culture. I love rock and roll. America has given us some of the greatest movies. 1997, we had the Titanic movie. We had Jurassic Park in 1993. Just amazing movies. Hollywood. America has entertained us with Hollywood. I do love America. But you should not have voted for Donald Trump. He's heading your country down the plug hole, and he's sending the rest of the world into a depression and possibly a World War III. This is not good. And it's the white Christian nationalists in the Republican Party that are boosting up Donald Trump because he got shot in the ear and survived it, nicked in the ear with a bullet. They think he's God incarnate. They think God has chosen Donald Trump to make America great again. And to me, it's white Christian nationalism, to make America white, to make them Christian and straight. And to Kamala Harris, a coloured woman, she would have done a beautiful job of leading America in a better way. She wouldn't have been perfect, but the American people didn't vote for her because she was coloured, she was black, and she was a woman. And Donald Trump, for some unknown reason, America fell in love with Donald Trump, and he's the one that started January 6 riots. Now, I'm not American, I've never been to America, I probably will never go to America, but I love American culture. And January 6 riots were started by Donald Trump because Donald Trump said they stole the election. The Democrats stole the election from me, and the a stolen election, an illegal election, and Donald Trump, should have won. Donald Trump was the 45th president, but in 2020 he says that the Democrats stole the election, and it would have made him the 46th president of the United States. He was born in 1946. He wanted to be the 46th president. So Joe Biden won legally. He won the election in 2020 legally. He won it legally. And Donald Trump said, no, they stole the election. So all these white Christian nationalists attacked the White House in America, and January 6th, and Donald Trump was behind it. Right, Donald Trump was behind it. And then when Donald Trump got voted in 2024, Donald Epstein Trump, Donald Trump, he won the 2024 elections, and they ditched Kamala Harris. And if you only voted for Kamala Harris, a coloured woman, you would be not in this. The war wouldn't be going down a depression and possibly a World War III. Now, the Jews, I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm not anti-Semitic at all. I have Scandinavian ancestry in me, Viking ancestry, and I love Jewish people. But the problem with the Jewish people is that they have this mentality that God chose them, they're God's people, they're Abraham's descendants, they have a special relationship with God, and it's religion that is the problem. And a lot of those, if Donald Trump sends troops to Iran, the Strait of Hormuz, they will die, because Iran has drones, they have a military, they're sending them to a death trap. And a lot of these Christian priests are saying to the American soldiers, if you die for America, if you die for your country, you go to heaven. You go to heaven, right? Now, there's no evidence, zero evidence we have an immortal soul. All the evidence suggests that when we're dead, we stay dead. We stay dead forever. There's no immortal soul, no afterlife. I don't know for 100%, but scientifically they has never discovered an immortal soul. Historically, we know that Jesus did not rise from the dead. He is a Roman invention. But what I want to say about America, I mean, as much as I love America, I love Hollywood, love Elvis, love rock and roll music, we have to remember that after World War II, they had every right to fight the Japanese in World War II because Japan attacked America. So that was a legal war. But with Korean War, the Korean War went from 1950 to 1953, because they didn't like North Korea's communism, they stuck their nose into North Korea and lost that war. That was in 1950 to 1953. So you had the Korean War, which killed a lot of innocent American soldiers, and there is no everlasting life. There is no immortal soul that survives death. When we're dead, we stay dead, and we stay dead forever. You had the Vietnam War. The Vietnam War, that Australia got involved in the Vietnam War. The Vietnam War went from 1955 to 1975, and a lot of our brave Australian young men died in Vietnam, and along with Americans, but America stuck their nose into Vietnam. Let the Vietnamese fight their own war, Viet Cong, Vietnamese, whatever it was. And all those young men who died lost their lives. They lost their lives. And I'm an atheist. I don't believe there's any evidence that we have an immortal soul, or there's no evidence that Jesus rose from the dead. A lot of evidence suggests that Jesus is a Roman invention crafted by Rome, and that's why the Jews don't believe in Jesus, because Jesus is a Roman invention. Now we have the Afghan war, between 2001 and 2021. Now, the Afghani war was started when 9/11, those twin towers collapsed on the 11th of September 2021. 11th of September 2001. We had just under 3,000 innocent people in New York City die when the planes attacked. Now, America got involved in the Afghan war because of that. So I'm not saying, and Israel got involved after October 7, which was terrible, massacre. October 7, over 2,000 people were killed and slaughtered by Muslim extremists. Muslim extremists, and killed about 2,000 Jews on October 7. So Benjamin Netanyahu attacked whoever he thought Hamas was hiding in. He thought they were hiding in Gaza. So war is a terrible thing. As an atheist, I'm going to say that, look, sometimes you have to fight for your country, and you have to fight for your country if your country is being attacked. If there is retaliation, get the people who are responsible for the murders, not innocent women and children who have nothing to do with the war. Don't kill civilians. Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu, don't forget this is Israel's war, not America's war. Donald Trump has been financed by rich Zionist billionaires in New York who are giving Donald Trump money and America money, and they think Israel's wonderful because they're God's people and Jesus is going to come back when the Jews return to Palestine. This religious nonsense. But the problem is that on 28th of February 2026, which will be a date of infamy to be remembered, when Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu attacked Iran, who were ready to sit down and negotiate. They were ready to sit down and negotiate. And then America just goes and kills him, kills his oldest son, his wife, his daughter, and his brother-in-law all get killed. Now, the new Ayatollah Khomeini, the second son, is going to hate America for years to come, and they'll hate Israel. Well, they've hated Israel for over 2,000 years. Over 3,000 years they've been at each other's throat. So America, you should not have voted for Donald Trump. Donald Epstein Trump. Why do I keep on saying Epstein? That name Epstein keeps on popping up into my head. But Donald Trump should not have got into the White House at all after the January 6 riots. As soon as Donald Trump gets into power, he whacks tariffs onto Australia. He whacks tariffs onto Canada, onto Europe, onto Japan. Now, he had the Japanese Prime Minister visit America just recently, a lady, I forget what her name, I'm trying to think what her name is, but Japanese, and he said that you attacked Pearl Harbor. You didn't tell us, you Japanese didn't tell us you were going to attack Pearl Harbor. Well, America has attacked. America, under the direction of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, the Zionists, have attacked an innocent country. Fair enough. Iran has been killing people, young people, by the thousands because they don't want to be Muslim extremists. They probably still want to be Muslims, but they don't want to be Muslim extremists, right? A lot of people still want to be Christians, but they don't want to be Christian extremists, right? Now, if Donald Trump didn't bomb Iran and just negotiated with them, in years to come, in the coming years, Iran may have had a new government because Ayatollah Khomeini was 86 years old and he may have died of old age. And the younger generation will come up and change the government, because every time an old generation dies, the younger generation comes in and things change. Things change with death. Death is an essential part of life. Death isn't a punishment. for sin or original sin. Death is just a natural part of life. And when you drop a coffee cup off a table and it hits the floor and breaks into pieces, the coffee cup doesn't get stuck together again, come back together on its own, right? So when we die, the atoms in our body scatter back to the water table, the dust, the air, elements of our body, just like a broken coffee cup. So that Donald Trump has broken the relationship with Iran, with the Middle East, for years to come. The Saudi Arabia, Qatar, all those Middle Eastern countries that had American bases on them, Iran is bombing them because they had American bases on them. And China, you look at China. Now, China is one of the most atheist countries on earth, but they're very peaceful. China never sticks its nose into other people's wars. It has a great wall of China, and maybe Australia and Europe should look towards China as a protector, because America is not a protector anymore. It's causing wars, just like the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. Donald Trump has illegally bombed Iran without telling anybody. Didn't tell Australia, didn't tell Europe, didn't tell Japan, didn't tell Canada. And I saw a clip the other day where Donald Trump was in a prayer meeting. They were all praying, standing around Donald Trump, these white Christian nationalists with their hands on Donald Trump's head. Jesus, direct Donald Trump. Jesus, guide Donald Trump. And these American soldiers, if they go to the Gulf of Hormuz, they will die. But the army chaplain said, if you die for America, you'll go straight to heaven. No, you won't. When you die, the atoms in your body go back to the earth, and they'll always exist, but your consciousness will be gone forever. We're mortal beings. Death is not a punishment, but death is an essential part of life. Without death, evolution doesn't happen. Mutations don't happen. Future generations don't happen if the older generations don't die. Death is an essential part of life, but live as long as you can, because this is the one and only life that you get. There is no afterlife. There's just this one life. Don't waste it with war. View other people as your equal primates. Unfortunately, the human brain evolved too big. Evolution gave us too big a brain, and we worked out we're going to die, and we can't handle the fact that we're going to die. But just think of this. The moment that you die, the last thoughts that you ever have, you will be living. The tunnel, you'll see dead relatives. The brain, a couple of minutes after the heart stops beating and the oxygen stops in the brain, what happens? Your brain floods with serotonin, which is a happiness drug, and dimethyltryptamine. You have a little gland in your brain called the pineal gland. It floods your brain with dimethyltryptamine, DMT, the most strongest hallucination known to man. So the day you die, you will see your dead relatives around you. You'll see a white tunnel. But when you're going through that, you are alive. The moment you die, your brain throws you a party, and you'll probably be the happiest you've ever been just the moment before you die. But once you're dead, once your brain stops, the thousands of neurons in your brain, once they stop firing, those millions, billions of neurons firing in your brain, you cease to exist. So you won't experience death. Because to experience death, you have to have a working brain. And once your brain stops working, there is no you to experience anything. So you're not going to experience loneliness, boredom, envy, desire, because all those things are created by the brain. When there's no working brain, there's no you, because you are your brain. Thousands and millions of little neurons firing gives the illusion that there's one of you, but there's not. There's millions of little connections, and once they all go, There is no you to experience boredom. There's no you to experience pain, no you to experience loneliness, no you to experience envy. You just simply don't exist. So there will never be a time when you think, oh, I'm finally dead. This is it. No. You probably know you're dying, but while you know you're dying, so this is the thing. Religion teaches that if you die as a soldier, you'll go to a reincarnation, you'll become a ghost, you'll go to heaven, you'll go to hell. No, you'll go to if you fight for your country, it doesn't matter how bad you are, you're guaranteed to go to heaven, you know. So this is Israel's war, and we should let Israel and Iran sort their own problems out, because they've been at each other's throats for over 2,000 years, over 3,000 years. Now ancient Iran, which is ancient Persia, they're a civilization that gave us Zoroastrianism. Zoroastrianism was the first monotheist religion, and it's over 700 years older than Judaism. Now, the ancient Persians believed that the one God, his name was Mazda, the one God, and the evil god, the devil, was called Angermanu, right? Angermanu. And when God made man, the tree of the weed of the plant of life was thrown in a river, and the serpent dove into the river and snatched the plant of life, of everlasting life, from Adam, the first man, and Adam and Eve didn't get to live forever. So the Jews stole the Persians' religion, right? The flood story comes from Babylon and Persia, astrology. Persia was the first nation, the monotheist religion. And fair enough, modern day Iran is treating young people horrible. If young people don't want to be Muslim extremists, they don't have to be Muslim extremists. They just want to stay Muslim. That's okay. Now, me as an atheist, I am an atheist. I really don't mind people who are religious. It's okay if you're religious. I'm not against people who believe in God. I really aren't. I'm happy you have a religion, and I don't want you to leave your religion. If your religion gives you comfort and community, I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you, but I just cannot believe in a God or afterlife. I don't believe in the afterlife. I can't. I just don't believe in it. But if you want to believe it, good. But my problem is when these religious institutions start abusing people financially, emotionally, sexually, all these things causing harm, that's when religion comes dangerous. For instance, Zionism. Zionism is the idea that God chose Abraham. Abraham's descendants will inherit the land flowing with milk and honey, and everyone will bow down before me, and they'll be your servants because you're my people, and you're my favourite. Out of all the peoples on earth, I chose you, Jewish people, as my possession, as my wife, as my favourite people on earth, and everyone else are below you, servants. That attitude's not good. And same with Muslims. Muslims think that infidels should be killed, or infidels are below them. Donald Trump. I saw a clip. I'm not good with technology on getting clips onto my channel, but Donald Trump was saying at a meeting, he said, I hope that there's no atheists in the room, Donald Trump said. No atheists in the room. No one's putting their hand up. Well, I wouldn't want to put up my hand if I was an atheist, because if you do, there'll be trouble. There'll be trouble, like a threat. See, a lot of countries, they don't like atheists because atheists believe we get one life, only one life. And when you're dead forever. And I'm an ex-Jehovah's Witness, and we used to teach that the lake of fire, the second death, the lake of fire, you'll be cast in the lake of fire and you will never live again. For the rest of eternity, you simply won't exist. That was the punishment. not hellfire, not suffering in hell, because if I burn my hair or cut my hair, it doesn't feel pain because it's not connected to my brain. If I cut my fingernails, I feel no pain because my fingernails aren't connected to my brain. That's why there's no pain, no brain. So get your hair cut, burn your hair, set fire to my hair, I feel no pain. Same with fingernails. So Jehovah's Witnesses believe that you're a living soul, a living, breathing soul, and when you die, you cease to exist until the resurrection, when God recreates the atoms from the dust and makes up another you, and you get to live forever if you become obedient, right? A lot of Jehovah's Witnesses are petrified of not existing forever. Eternity just not being. But when you think of it, before you were born, for billions and billions of years, you didn't exist. You see? And you suffered no pain, no nothing. And a famous atheist poet called Mark Twain, he said, I'm not afraid of being dead. I was dead for billions upon billions of years before I was born, and I never suffered the slightest inconvenience from it. So this war with this illegal war with Iran that Israel's Benjamin Netanyahu and the billionaire Zionists encouraged Donald Trump to get involved with, Donald Epstein Trump. Now, why do I keep on mentioning the name Epstein? Epstein keeps on coming up. Yeah, Donald Trump, not Donald Epstein Trump, but Donald Trump, right, starting a war with Iran under the direction of Israel. Because rich Zionists, they just want Iran's oil. They want the oil, and they think they're entitled to it because God, they're descendants of Abraham, and I chose you, Jews, because you're my favourite people. As I said before, I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm an atheist, and the most peaceful countries on earth, the most atheist countries on earth, you have China #1, Japan, Scandinavia, are peaceful countries. They don't get involved in other people's wars. So why should Australia and Europe suffer? Because we're suffering now. By the end of April, Australia may have no fuel, and we're going to have to, and no fertiliser for food. So this is an oil catastrophe for the world. Fertiliser, we get fertiliser from fossil fuels. Fertiliser from fossil fuels from the Middle East, from the Strait of Hormuz. We get fertiliser, we get petrol, gasoline, and all these things we depend on. We depend for the economy. It's a petrol or gasoline, as you Americans call it. Now, if you are American and watching this video, I feel really sorry that you have Donald Trump. You have to impeach Donald Trump. You have to take Donald Trump out of office. And Pete Hegsworth, whatever his name is, all his right-hand men and Vance and all that, get a new government, impeach him, because he's 80. He's 80 years old now, and he could have dementia. He could be demented, and a lot of the way he talks, the way he lies through his teeth, he doesn't tell the truth. He's lying through his teeth. He says, Iran wants to sit down and negotiate. No, they don't. They said America and Israel and America, two countries, you started the war, we're going to finish it. And they'll finish it on their terms, and they won't have good relationships with America for years to come. Donald Trump should resign, be impeached, surrender, and pay repatriations, compensate Iran for the damage that you've done, compensate them. And, because they were willing to sit down and talk. This didn't have to happen. The younger Iranians, the younger generation of Iranians would have changed the government eventually. You know, old people die, they're replaced by young people. Death is an essential part of life. Death isn't a punishment or an enemy. It's nature's way of creating evolution. And without death, there is no evolution. No mutations, no future generations. The older generations die off. And you won't know you're dead. You won't be bored when you're dead. You won't be envious when you're dead. You won't think you're missing out on anything because there'll be no you to miss out on anything. Now, if you ask me what happens at death, I don't know. But that's what I think happens. I think you cease to exist, and it does seem depressing. It seems so depressing. But by accepting it, we humble ourselves. Atheists become an atheist, you become humble, and you value other people's lives as more precious too. As an atheist, not only do you value your one life precious. Now, when I was a Jehovah's Witness, I used to drink nearly every day. I was an alcoholic. Now, I'm an atheist. I don't drink alcohol at all. I haven't had any alcohol since July 2024. Zero alcohol. I don't take drugs. I don't smoke cigarettes. I value my life. I'm 65 years old. 65 years old. I've got about 15 years before I'm 80, right? The Bible says, and I still think the Bible says 70, 80 years of life. I still think the Bible's an amazing book, a beautiful book. I love to study the Bible and its history with mythology woven through it. It's historical myth. Some of the things aren't historicals, or they're just stories, you know. Stories to build up a people to comfort them when they're in Babylon. You know, when they're in Babylon, people make stories and gives them comfort and a hope for the future. And, death is painful. I mean, we miss our dead loved ones. We'd love to see them again. And who doesn't want to see their dead loved ones again? But wanting something to be true isn't the same as it being true, is it really, you know? And I want to say this, that I think we're heading towards a dangerous part. America should surrender and repay. And Israel, I don't know what's going to happen with Israel. You illegally attacked, October 7, I can understand Israel in a lot of ways, but in a lot of ways I can't. Because October 7 was a horrendous thing, and all the people that got killed on October 7, my heart goes out to them. We had Bondi, a couple of Muslim extremists shot 15 people at Bondi here in Australia, and a brave Muslim man tackled the gunman. He was a good Muslim, so... You know, this extremism. If you want to be a Muslim, but don't be a Muslim extremist. You want to be a Christian, but don't be a Christian extremist. Extreme. Do you want to be a Jew? Be a Jew, but don't be a Jewish extremist. Or even, if you want to be an atheist, be a nice atheist, or agnostic. I like to call myself an agnostic because when people say you're an atheist, hackles, atheist, what do you mean there's no afterlife? What, you're dead forever, only one life and that's it. No. I said, well, the evidence kind of points to it, because not one person's ever come back. Well, Jesus has come back. Well, that's what the Roman writers wrote. And you've got to remember, the New Testament was written in Greek. There was a Greek god called Scalepus who cured lepers and cured the blind. That was Scalepus, the Greek god. Yeah, cured lepers, cured the blind, before Jesus did. You had Greek god Helios. He walked on water. Yeah, before Jesus walked on water. You had you had Helios and you had Dionysus, the Greek god Dionysus, who changed water into wine before Jesus did. These were dying and rising gods. They got killed. You had the Roman god Romulus, a man god, founded Rome, Romulus. He rose from the dead, born of a virgin. You had the Roman god Mithras. He died, rose from the dead, and you'd eat bread and beer. Bread and beer. A meal with Mithras and you'll have eternal life. Egyptians, they had Osiris, Horus, and Isis. Osiris rose from the dead. And I do believe the Bible contradicts itself. When I was a Jehovah's Witness, people say, oh, the Bible contradicts itself. I'll give you a couple of examples, right? In the Old Testament, Yahweh, Jehovah, he told the Israelites, you must not make a carved image under anything under the sun. You must not make a carved image of anything on earth or in the heavens, right? A couple of chapters later, Jehovah tells the Israelites, I think it's in Exodus, that you're going to make an Ark of a Covenant. Now, I'm not going to get Moses to do it. I'm going to get Bezalel, the craftsman, Bezalel, the Jewish craftsman, and you're to craft on this golden box with rods so you can carry it. You're to carve 2 cherubs or 2 angels, like cherubic angels, with wings pointing each other. You're to carve it out of gold, and the wings of the angels are to point each other and all appear between the wings of the angels, and every time you go into battle, you carry the ark in front of you, right? This is a holy ark, and only the priests can touch it. Do you remember Uzziah? They were carrying the Ark of the Covenant, and the cattle caused an upset. Remember the cattle caused an upset, right? And he strikes Uzi dead, like, zap, you're dead. Because they was going to fall on the ground. So Jehovah zaps them. Now the Bible says Jehovah is meek, patient, slow to anger. That's a contradiction. Jehovah just zaps him dead. Uzziah, because the cattle caused an upset and the ark was going to fall on the ground. And to save the ark, Uzziah holds it so it doesn't fall on the ground, fall in the dirt. And Jehovah gets angry and zaps him dead. Zaps him dead. Slow to anger? No. That's a contradiction. Another contradiction is that the carved angels of the cherubs on top of the Ark of the Covenant, that's a carved image. A carved image. They're bound down to worship it because they believe Jehovah's appearing in it. That's a contradiction, right? And in the New Testament, there's contradiction too. The New Testament says God is slow to anger, fruits of the Spirit mild, slow to anger, not provoked. What about in Acts, Sapphira and what's the other person's name? They hold some of the money back. Remember that? They would take their money to the apostles and say, here's the money, here's a portion. Sapphira and Sapphira, I think their names were, and they lied about how much they were giving. They lied, or how much a percentage. They were holding back some of the money and not giving it all to the apostles. God zaps them dead. The Holy Spirit zaps them dead. Zaps him dead first, and then the woman, they carried the feet of your husband out now. They're going to carry your feet out because you lied. You lied again. You lied to the Holy Spirit. So zap dead. When it comes to money, God gets really upset. Don't steal money. You can touch the virgins. You can, touch the virgins if you conquer a land. Kill all the men, kill all the baby boys. Kill the men, kill the baby boys. Kill all the women that are laying down with the man. You can touch the virgins, but don't you dare touch the money. Don't you dare touch the money. Because if you touch the money, I'm going to zap you dead. Yeah? Now, Numbers chapter 31. Read Numbers chapter 31, starting in verse 19. And Moses has a go at the Israelites because they spared some of the Amalekites. You didn't kill all the Amalekites. You're supposed to genocide all the Amalekites. Yeah? Kill all the men, the baby boys, all the women that have lain down with anyone. So a woman, she gets married, husband, honeymoon last night, sorry, stab you to death because you're no longer a virgin. But keep all the young virgins for yourself. And you know what they would have done. Now, we killed your baby brother, we killed your mum, your dad. You can go off and wander in the desert now. Bye-bye. No, you know what they would have done to the virgins. They may keep them for yourselves. So touch your virgins, but do not touch the money. Don't touch the money, because the money belongs to God. And he's always short of $1, isn't he, God? Always. And Jesus isn't coming back because he wasn't nailed to a boomerang. And I'm an atheist because imaginary friends are for 4-year-olds, you know. So I'm not religious, and I don't believe Jesus is coming back. You get one life only, as far as we know. Be agnostic, there could be something, but as far as we know, there's no scientific evidence for a mortal soul, no historical resurrection, no historical evidence for Jesus' resurrection. The 5,000 witnesses, that's in a book. That's in a book. A lot of you Christians don't believe what's written down in the Quran is true. I bet if you read it, you wouldn't believe all the miracles in the Quran are true. So, you know, that's what I want to say. And Donald Trump is guilty of war crimes, and Benjamin Netanyahu is guilty of war crimes. This is an illegal war. You whacked tariffs on Australia and Canada and Japan and Europe. Whack tariffs onto us, and then you say, Donald Trump, oh, help us in the war, you cowards. Oh, we don't need you, because America's winning the war anyway. We don't need you. So, you know, but if you want oil in the Strait of Hormuz, you got to come and get it yourself. That's what Donald Trump says. So that's all I wanted to say. Thanks for listening. It's been 41 minutes, a long one. Thanks for putting up with me. It's the 4th of the 4th, 26. Thank you.